I do a lot of oil painting. Most of what I've been doing the past year or so have been landscapes. I've done a few figurative and self portrait things. I had a real fun time painting these night paintings of London. But most of all, what I want to spend the majority of my time on are these fantastical, unusual paintings. Ideally, someday in the far future, when I have a large collection of them and the story is well mapped out in my head, I would like to compile them into a book of some kind or do something like that with them. And whether or not that's possible is determined mostly by my ability to make a lot of paintings and make them well. So, in that meantime, I try my very best to spend all my time, as much free time as I have or can bear to spend on these paintings, I do. So, one thing which has been a massive benefit to me is making clay sculptures. I think, particularly if you are somebody who has high ambitions for an image that you have in your mind, but you might struggle with the perspective, you're not somebody who could just make up lighting in your mind, which I would consider myself in that category, which is why I've moved on to clay sculptures. Everyone always says how it's important to take your own reference, and for the most part, I always do. And filling in the gaps with references that you find online is good enough, but trying to find the perfect reference that's in the perfect position or has the perfect lighting and the colors and everything, it's an immense struggle. And maybe to some people it might seem like an even more of a struggle to make an entire clay sculpture, but in the end, it's a lot easier. Having the full thing exactly how you want it, exactly how you imagine it in your mind, or as best you can get it. And even if you don't use it for extremely detailed sculptures or like sculpting in the entire scenes and backgrounds and everything, even if you don't use it for that, I think it's very similar to having one of those wooden mannequins, that human anatomy and mannequins that you could maneuver around however you like. But in this case, you could make it into whatever you like. It doesn't have to be in the shape of a human. And for me, somebody who's imagining creatures of odd shapes and sizes and everything, it is important to be able to visualize these things as closely to reality as I want them to be. And so I guess the next part is to explain what I'm doing. Um, I have this monkey gang conception. Um, it's a bit silly to explain. Most of my things are quite goofy and not serious, but violent, most definitely violent. And in this case, this painting is going to be very, very violent. Um, but the general gist is I have these monkeys that I've been painting for a while in oil paintings and gouache paintings, and mostly things in my mind which I haven't quite yet put the effort into visualizing properly. And essentially, they're meant to be like thieves, I guess. I want them to be obsessed with jewels and shiny things and going around stealing stuff, and I want it to be like them wearing it. I want it to really be on them, to be seen on them. I want them to be glowing and shining as they walk, beginning in quite simple and ruggedy clothes, and by the end of the story, you see them again, and they're bedazzled, they're absolutely glistening. And I haven't done any of that in between part, because what I'm doing now, what this sculpture is going to be, is their ending. It's their actual end, their death, I guess, where they get ambushed by this, I guess, a death squad um, of creatures. They get torn apart, ripped to shreds, and visually, I think it's really fun. I guess for me, this huge blonde monkey in the back of the smaller ones, um, for him to sort of be like spread out, ripped to shreds like a carpet, um, and all of these creatures, all these monstery things are like rolling around in his skin and in his guts, and it's glistening, and the jewels are shining in the blood, and everything's mixing together in this like, obviously it's supposed to be disgusting in some way, but also beautiful in another because of the bright colors and the shining and the jewels and everything. I love that contrast of and even the guts and the blood, like almost coming across as like pink. It will be very pink and yellow and gold. And so I've actually been planning to make this painting for a year now. I haven't Planning is a strong word. I haven't put too much thought into it, but I've had that idea for a while, and I've even gone through the trouble a year ago to make a sculpture of the main person, the little sack man. um, who will sort of be like the in the foreground of the painting. And I never got around to finishing it. I even started putting down the paint on a canvas, um, and I wasn't satisfied with the composition. I think that's something I really struggle with. But now I'm back on it, and so I'm making this dog clay sculpture to go along with him. I thought what I would do is really lock down and make as much clay sculptures as I possibly can, so that when it comes to painting the actual thing, it'll basically be like coloring in the lines. But what I decided to do instead is take this opportunity to try digital, which is another thing I've been wanting to do and something that I'm hoping will simplify or speed up my process, and also hopefully guarantee um, some kind of future for it, I guess. We live in a digital age. The modern age is digital. Your art needs to be able to be digitized if you want to make prints or anything like that of it. Even just taking photos of it, it's really hard to get nice paintings of a really dark oil painting, and most of my paintings tend to be quite dark. Light shines off it, and it's not a pleasant experience. It doesn't sometimes I think it doesn't look well on the camera too, on the photo, I guess. And yeah, sometimes the photo is actually like totally different to what it actually looks like in real life. And so yes, I scrapped the idea of probably out of laziness, of course, but I scrapped the idea of making a whole clay scene right from the start, and then the last thing I do is to make the oil painting itself. Instead, I've left it with what I've made, and I've decided to try the digital. I have a good reference, I have a good starting point. I generally know the size that I want this painting to be. Yeah, I thought I would just sort of use this photo reference as a good place to try out digital for the first time. But yeah, so far this is what I've got, and I'm very happy with it actually. I did before this one. I did actually start painting over a different gouache painting that I've made, and it went really badly. And I spoke to a friend who does digital art, and they showed me how they do it, and I've changed up some of my technique, and it's totally fixed almost all the issues I had with digital. And so I hope that I'll do multiple parts, treat this as sort of like a video diary of the process that I'm taking into making a kind of a high concept painting. I would hope other people would consider it a high concept. I did shoot myself in the foot a little bit with the concept being so extravagant, I guess. I'm expecting to have a lot happening, and so hopefully I could actually get this finished. I don't want to be in the habit of not finishing paintings, which anyway, I'm hoping that making a video like this will sort of motivate me to really lock in and keep updating this thing. And yeah, because I've got Procreate, I'm able to do a time lapse. Like it seems to keep an automatic time lapse of everything that you do. So by the end of it, or here and there, I'll have examples of what I'm doing and why, and I'll be able to talk a little bit about the mistakes I've made when I first started. And yeah, so let's see how that goes.